Hello, good evening, everyone. Give this another time. And hello to everyone on Zoom as well. Aren't we all on fire tonight, right? When I first came to this fellowship, probably first year, and during summer it was hot. Actually, it was hotter than this. And I remember back then I thought, wow, these people are hardcore. It's like you go into a gym, you expect to get to sweat, right? If you do nothing, then what's the benefit of going to the gym, right? And we are here for a spiritual workout, so. All right, so this evening, the title of my talk is Humble Yourself and Never Give Up. So I'm focusing on Luke 18. So every month I focus on one chapter and pick something out of the chapter. So Luke 18, let me move this. So in verse 1, so Luke 18 has several parables. Jesus gave parables to help people to understand, right, his points. And so verse 1, this is called the parable of the persistent widow. And now Jesus was telling the disciples a parable to make the point that I'm reading from Amplified. Make the point that at all times they ought to pray and not give up and lose heart. And this is really important. We always need to pray, even though sometimes you're so tired, or sometimes the trials is so tough that you don't feel like praying, right? Or sometimes you can be so sick, you just not able to pray. But when you are able, remember that we always have to pray. And when you are not able to pray, we are praying for you, right? That's why we call out to brothers and sisters, ask for prayers, because there's power of multitude, right? And submitting the petition to the Lord. Also, never give up and never not lose heart. And I have a lot of experience with this. And then, so I'll let you read the parable yourself. Basically, the Lord used a story to illustrate a point. And he said, will not our just God defend and avenge his elect, who cry out to him day and night? Will he delay in providing justice on their behalf? Right? So if you are persistent, if you keep going, if you don't give up, and the Lord will answer your prayer. Sometimes it's not the way you want to hear, right? Sometimes it's not the way you think or you expect. But at the end, usually it's better than you think. And I had a lot of the experience myself as well. So, I mentioned the trial, my personal trial. I want to share with you something positive. This is, I just got this. I got some news yesterday. I just got this today. For a long time, I was going through immigration, and finally, it was approved. So 2 years and 3 months ago, I shared with you that I was approved. That was approved to be able to apply for a green card. And then, so another 2 years and 3 months passed, and now, according to this, I'm still in a way kind of hard to believe. I check so many times. I log onto the website. I'm just like worried that are they gonna say, hey, we clicked on the wrong button. We have to retract. And but from this, I learned a lot of lesson. I learned how to pray and not to give up. And my faith is not perfect. During, like I said, this this has been a 25 years trial, right? And the Lord is so amazing. Actually, 25 years ago, I submitted a petition, and back then there was a law. I was just 3 days from not able to qualify for that petition. So for that, I was able to stay here and find a way to adjust my status. But I just needed to find a way. And but for a long time, I just didn't know there's any way. I thought it was impossible, right? With this face, nobody want to marry me. With work, I mean, you're not supposed to work, so how are you gonna get it through work, right? So I just thought, oh, there's no way. And I was just taking it day by day, you know. I would just pray. I don't want to leave the fellowship, and so I would just take it day by day. And I think around like 2018 or 17, all of a sudden, I just realized the Lord has been providing me with evidence to qualify for a category. And so for years, I was doing something, and not through my own effort. I never thought about doing those stuff, but my name ended up in books, and then I ended up on cable news, and then some 3-letter agency contacted me. So then I was able to assemble all this evidence to build a case that the country needs my service. So that's how I was able to qualify. And so looking back, I was like, wow, that was so amazing, because I thought there was no way, right? For a long time, I thought there was no way. But at the same time, that was pretty scary, because it wasn't like the Lord showed me the vision, right? Say, hey, do this right now. I thought, wow, this is the way the Lord has provided for me, but I had to step out in faith to put it to the test, right? And that was kind of scary, because what happens if that was just my imagination, right? Then I'll be denied, and then I'll be kicked out, right? And so that was a big step in faith as well. Anyway, so about not giving up, I like this verse from Proverbs 24:16. This is from New King James. For a righteous man may fall 7 times and rise again, but the wicked shall fall by calamity. And there's a Japanese saying, it says, fall 7 times, get up 8. I like that visual, like I fall down 7 times. Doesn't matter how many times I fall down, as long as I get up more times than I fall down, right? And like a righteous man, we are righteous men. We are not our own righteousness, right? We are not self-righteous. Our righteousness came from the Lord. As long as we follow the Lord, we are righteous. If we don't follow the Lord, we are not righteous, right? If we follow the Lord, and even though we may fall 7 times or 70 times, right? We just need to get up again, right? Keep getting up. So years ago, I made this. I read somewhere they say hope and nope. It's just the first letter, right? It's different. So I made this thing. At first, I like to turn it to hope. But then after a while, I thought, I actually like to keep it as nope, because every time I see nope, it's just kind of like our lives, right? You encounter a lot of negative, a lot of rejection. A lot of people say no to me, right? No. But then I wanted I want to be able to, even though I look at note straight in my head, I know there's hope, right? We are not, we don't walk by sight, we walk by faith, right? And looking at the note, I know there's hope. And that's how I like to look at it. And I also think about it like, kind of like, you know, as we travel in this world, right? Kind of like we drive. You're gonna encounter red lights, right? And how silly it would be if every time you run into a red light, you say, forget it, I'm going home, right? Sometimes little trials here and there, it shouldn't stop us, right? We need to wait it out or wait until we are able to go again, and don't just give up. All right, so, and then verse 8, Jesus said, when the Son of Man comes, will he find this kind of persistent faith on the earth, right? So in the parable, the persistent widow, he went to this unrighteous judge again and again, right? And eventually he was able to help her, even though he wasn't a righteous judge. And how much more would the Lord honor you, right? And persistent faith. That's something that we need to strive for. I know it's not always easy. I wish I could say my walk is like 100% perfect, but then there are times that I get really down, it's really difficult, and actually just right before this approval last week, I talked to my mom, and she was really upset, and she said my dad was really upset, and she was saying I'm wasting my life here, and that's really hard to hear from your parents. And then it just many different things. I was just at almost at a breaking point. But then at the same time, I thought, I also remember Eddie told me something years ago. He said, when things look hopeless, he actually get excited, because that's when he wonder what the Lord can do in this situation, right? So when things were so tough, and I thought, well, maybe something good might happen. But then at the same time, my faith is not perfect. I was also doubting, right? I thought, oh, what happened? I had to make myself ready. Like, if this thing doesn't go through, I don't have money to move everything back. I'll just have to give it all up, right? I wrote on my journal, I say, I'm about to lose everything if it's denied. But I'm glad his ways are higher than mine, his thoughts are higher than mine, and even though I don't have a perfect faith, but with his mercy, then I can keep on going. Also, like, when you're driving, you see detour, you see road closed, you're not just gonna, forget it, I'm going home, right? You take a detour. It doesn't matter how much detour you take, as long as you get to the destination, right? No matter how many things that we don't expect, that harder than we thought, but as long as we keep on going, right? Find our way to the Lord. All right, so the second parable, I'm running short on time. The second parable is about tax collector, about people who trust themselves, kind of being self-righteous. And maybe I'll skip this. Also, anyway, the point is about faith and humility. And okay, I want to focus on this. So this story is on Luke 18, verse 22. Jesus counsels a rich young ruler. So there was a young ruler, and he said, what I do to enter the kingdom, right? And then Jesus said, do this, and he said, oh, I've been doing that. And Jesus said, you still lack one thing, sell everything that you have and distribute to the poor, right? And then come follow me. So what do you think is the most important of these two things? Give all your money to the poor or follow me? It's follow me, right? Giving money, handling money might not be your problem, might not be everybody's problem, but it was this rich ruler's problem. I think Jesus was able to see that he was relying on his wealth more than the Lord, right? There are many examples of people who had a lot of wealth in the Bible, right? Like Abraham, Job, and the money is not a problem, but how you use or how you are able to let go, that's the thing, right? And I think the most important thing is come follow me, right? A lot of people in this world, they do all kinds of charitable things, they do great things. In a sense, they are doing the first part that Jesus was talking about, right? Give your money to the poor, do all these things, and you have treasure in heaven. But a lot of them fail to do the second most important thing, follow me, right? A lot of people, they follow themselves, right? They follow whatever they think is right, but they fail to follow the Lord. But it's a lot more important to follow the Lord. If you keep all your money, but you follow the Lord, you do better than you give away all your money, but you are not following the Lord, right? And then finally, there's a blind man receive his sight in this story. So this blind man, he was keep screaming. He says, "Son of David, have mercy on me." And go home and read this. But from what I got out of this is that, sometimes maybe we are too timid, or we want to approach the Lord, but then at the same time we almost, for me, sometimes I almost worry for the Lord. I say, oh, maybe he cannot do this, right? I am just like the gifts we heard tonight. We might be limiting the Lord, right? We use our own thinking to limit his power. And for screaming, I was thinking about, we should not be hesitant, that should not be afraid to announce publicly our trust is in the Lord. We don't have to worry about, I tell this person he or she is going to get healed, maybe the Lord is not going to be able to do that, right? We don't worry that. We just tell them the Lord's promise, right? Promises. And the Lord will take care of his own business. And so, and another thing I like about this is talking about humility, being humble. This person, this blind man, he was humble. He humbly approached the Lord. He was bold and humble at the same time. And he know that he was not self-righteous, thinking, oh, you have to heal me, right? He said, have mercy on me, please help me, right? And then he said he want to be able to see. For us, we want to be able to see, right? We want to be able to see the way the Lord sees, and to have a good vision to follow him. And if we do that, then he will bless us as well. So in closing, be humble and don't give up, no matter how hard it is. And for all these years that I got a lot of help from you all. I don't have to point out the names, you know who you are, all of you are, and I really appreciate that. And we are all in this together, right? We help each other. We lift each other up. We encourage each other. So with that,